Hey guys, take a look at this huge box right here. Oh man, you know what? This room might actually have an echo in it. Oh well, we're gonna go with it because I have to unbox this statue and check for breaks because again, this is another Broly statue that I had for sale and I have an interested buyer and I'm gonna be checking for breaks for him before we go and meet with him tomorrow. This is the third Broly that I was gonna have on display with my figure class and KRC Broly, but I decided that I'm just gonna be keeping figure class Broly. So thankfully KRC Studio Broly already sold, and as I mentioned, this one is in the process of being sold as well. So let's go ahead and unbox him. We'll check for breaks, we'll assemble him to make sure all the pieces are there. Then we'll put it back in the box. Hopefully everything's okay, and I will go meet the buyer tomorrow, as it is a local sale, which is pretty nice because this is a really big box, as you guys can see. Shipping was pretty expensive for this bad boy. You're looking at around over 150 just for shipping within the state. So thankfully I found a buyer that is local, so we are going to go meet. So yeah, let's go ahead and get inside this box. Let me just quickly show you all the sides. Pretty boring box, to be honest. It just has that same black artwork on the front and the back, and then green on the other side. So yeah, nothing much to see here. Let's get inside. Just notice that there is like a huge dent in here, so hopefully nothing there transferred into the statue. But we're gonna go ahead and open this. You guys will see it as I open it for the first time here. Oh, there's a bit of latches here. I'm assuming there's one on the other side as well. Oh, I guess that's it. All right, so inside the box, we got another styrofoam box. So let's go ahead and take this guy out. All right, so I did already remove the straps and I cut the tape along the edges. So we're gonna go ahead and take off this top part and hopefully there's no breaks. And take a look at that. Packaging looks really good so far by Last Sleep Studios. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove this first layer. That base right there is huge, so I was a little concerned that there would be breaks, but nope, so far everything looks really good.
All right, so here's the massive base. On the bottom, we do have an image of baby Broly looking pretty cute. And it's the same image of the Broly that's right there in the center of the base. We'll take a closer look at him later, but man, this base looks beautiful. Like, I love the colors that they went with. The sub base is definitely my favorite part, especially with that baby Broly there. And here's the top of the base, which looks amazing as well, especially these energy effects, which, like I mentioned before, I love the colors that they went with.
All right, guys, so I'm just gonna show you how I'm taking this out of the box as I'm assembling it. But since I'm gonna be shipping this out basically tomorrow, I'm just laying out all the styrofoam pieces as they were inserted in the box. For example, these 4 pieces right here, those come from the center right there. And then this right here comes from this piece right here. And then these 2 styrofoams are used to protect this piece right here. And another thing that I did too is each one of these beams, they are numbered. So since they all look pretty similar to each other, I just labeled them here as well, just so that I know where to put them back when I'm gonna go back to repackage this. So yeah, that's just a quick tip in case you guys are ever planning to sell any of your statues or something. It's always a good idea, if you have numbered parts that all look similar to each other, make sure to number them on the styrofoam as well, just so that you know how to put them back. Especially if you're planning to display it for a bit and you're gonna have them on display for a long time, you do tend to forget where pieces go, so it's always good to number them. But all right, let's continue with the assembly. Oh man, so one of my lights went out, so we're gonna continue this unboxing without one of my lights, so the lighting might not be as good as it usually is. Not that it is good to begin with, but it's gonna be a little bit worse. But anyways, I finally took off all of these beam particles from the box, and I'm assuming that we need to install these in numerical order. So this one is number 1. And there was quite a few. I think there was like in total 15, and some of them weren't even numbers, so there was more than that. But yeah, hopefully I am correct and that these go in numerical order. Otherwise, I am gonna have a very hard time. So I'm just gonna speed through installing all of these. All right, I'm having a hard time putting the beams, so I went on YouTube and I did see that there is an installation guide. So I wrote down the way that you're supposed to install the beams, and apparently you're supposed to install Broly first. So I'm gonna remove the beams, install Broly, and then I'll install the beams per the installation guide. Although the installation guide wasn't clear if it was the 1/4 or the 1/6 scale, so I'm just gonna assume that it's the same for both.
Thankfully, these beams weren't as bad to take off as they were to put on, so I was able to take them out pretty easily. And then we're gonna go ahead and install Broly first, and oh my god, his body sculpt. All these Broly statues have really great body sculpts, but for some reason with him, I actually really like the way his from his torso down looked, like his legs, the knees, something about them, they look huge and they look really cool. And I also love the way that this cloak kind of flows around him. This piece right here was a little strange. I was like, why'd they sculpt this separately? But when I do add it on there, it actually makes a big difference. And I have to say, I do prefer this version of Broly, at least what's around his torso there, more than the Dragon Ball Super Broly. I just think the red looks much cooler.
Man, look at this hand. This hand looks badass. I wish I had the correct batteries to turn on the LEDs, but unfortunately, I still don't have the correct batteries. I don't know which ones they are, but this thing is gonna look awesome with the LEDs turned on. But overall, I'm really impressed with this hand. Looks really cool. Just goes right there. And here's the second hand, which by the way, the battery where you put in the battery is right in here. You can just take this out, insert the battery right there, you press the button and the LED does turn on. Not a fan of this type of LEDs, but it is what it is.
Okay, here's the necklace that goes around Broly. This thing does have a little peg right here just so that it's not swinging around his neck. It does just stay in place once you set it there, which was pretty cool. They could have just left it as is and have the necklace flowing around him, but they did do this, which honestly I do prefer. And then the last few pieces before we move on to the beams in the back again are these little effect pieces. We had a little energy effect. That right there is just a random rock. We got some dust or smoke effects, whatever you want to call it. And then the last piece was another energy effect that goes right here on the left-hand side. This one was actually hidden in the box, so I had a hard time finding this one.
All right, so pretty cool. They do give you a little base for the 2 head scopes. And honestly, I didn't even know that this one came with 2 head scopes. But yeah, you do get 2. They are the same though. The only difference is that one of them does have the capabilities of adding LEDs. So that's this one right here. This bottom part does come off and you put an LED in there. So I won't be using this one since I don't have a battery for that LED. So I'm gonna go ahead and place that one on this little sub base. It looks pretty cool. I guess kind of creepy. It almost looks like it's a cyborg or something. Pretty cool. All right, so here's the second head scope. Again, as I mentioned, it's the exact same. It just doesn't have those clear eyes. And I actually prefer the look of the white eyes right here. Plus, I hate having to deal with batteries. So if I were to keep this, I probably would have kept this head scope on the statue. So let's go ahead and put it on. And there we go. That's how Broly looks. Broly is fully assembled now. So now let's go ahead and try to add all of those beams again. Hopefully it's a little bit easier with these steps right here.
All right, as I'm struggling to put these beams on, I'll go ahead and put the order in which you have to put the beams on here on the bottom of the screen, just in case anybody who runs into this video hasn't seen that installation guide. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that not all of these beams go into place perfectly. Like I felt like some of them didn't fully get inserted with the steel rods. So that's just something that I wanted to point out to my buyer, since I will be sharing this video with him. The beams are also a little wobbly since they're not fully like magnetized or anything. And like I mentioned, they didn't go all the way in with the steel rods. But I think if you're just gonna have this on display, stationary, static, that should be okay in my opinion. I've had a few other statues with the same kind of issues and nothing has happened with them so far. Okay, so that was it for all of the numbered beams. We did get a few other ones here that weren't numbered, so I kind of had to figure out where they went into. But honestly, it wasn't too difficult to find out, so I'm sure my buyer won't have an issue figuring out where these go. This is one that I had left in the package, so I had to come back and remove a piece to be able to install that one correctly. Here's the edition size plate. I have numbers 739 of 789, and they spelled Broly with an I instead of a Y. Here's a USB cable, which will be used for the LEDs.
All right, I'm finally done. It took me about 2 hours to assemble this guy just because I was being careful with taking everything out of the box. And then I messed up putting the beams the first time. Then I had to take them off and then put them back on. So yeah, it was a lot of work, but man, this thing has such a presence to it. Once again, it's one of those statues that when you see it in person, it just looks 100 times better than it does on camera. And I did turn the lights off so that you guys can kind of see the LED effect down here. The LED is super bright on this part right here, so you get to see baby Broly right there in his pod, which I will give you guys a close-up here in a bit. Here's what it looks like with the lights off. Looks really good in the dark as well. I'm definitely going to be sad to see this one go from the collection. I'd say across the board, this statue is a 10 out of 10. I love the base with the LED. The body sculpt is amazing. If you guys could see the muscles on the back, they look really great. The face sculpt looks really good as well, and I do like the fact that you get two of them, one with LEDs and one without. And overall, I do think that the concept is awesome. There were some controversy with this one, at least within my Discord, about the beams, but in person, I do think they look great. So I'm not gonna take any points out for that. So yeah, overall, 10 out of 10 statue. I hope it does go to a great home. Let's go into a figure showcase, and that will be it for this video. I will put this away and package it out of the camera because it's gonna take me a long time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.